Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Monday, June 20th, 2022. Stand up for your country. On Saturday, Joe Biden fell off his bike in Delaware. Some people were happy about that. I wrote a message of the day. I can't tell now between my columns and my messages. I wrote a message of the day, which is you can access. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be a BillO'Reilly.com premium member to read the message. It's there every morning. And I think you'll find it interesting the way that I positioned the bike fall. Of course, Network News pretty much ignored it as we expect, but it does mean something. And that is the subject of the Talking Points memo, kind of. All right, so President Biden should resign. I said should, because the country is heading in a bad place. We're already there, really. They say recession, we're in a recession. Not officially, but on the consumer front, do you know anybody who hasn't cut back spending? Everybody I know has cut back spending. That's a recession, when your spending recedes and when the corporation's hiring recedes, profits recede. Not all profits, gas companies are gouging and they're making a lot of money. But anyway, for the working men and women of America, we're in a recession. So 2 years ago, we were in a boom. Not anymore. And where Biden won't admit it's his fault, it is. And we all know that. It's his fault. Ridiculous energy policies, inability to correct problems quickly, no vision at all. I mean, just here's how absurd this is. And I mean, this is something out of Mad Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? So one of Biden's solutions to tamping down inflation is raising taxes on corporations. Well, as everybody knows, when corporations have to pay more tax, they pass that along to the consumer, the extra cost. That's what corporations do. So you said to Biden, like, you know, already working men and women can't afford to live in a meaningful way because you're paying so much money for fuel and food. And now you want to make the working people pay more? I mean, this isn't Cuba where all the private industry is controlled by the government. Now, the far left would like it to be Cuba. That's what they're going for, but it's not. So right now, if you add in shrinkflation, which is, you know, when you go to the grocery store, you get far less for the same money that you used to, about 11%. All right, and a wholesale price index came out last week, 10.8%. That means it's going up another 3%, everything in the short term. So by Labor Day, we'll be paying 3% more for gas and food. And already people can't afford it. So anyway, Biden should quit. He should just say, look, I'm almost 80. I tried, but I can't do it. And for the good of America, I'm going to resign. Will that happen? Not in the short term. But listen to me here. After November, when the Republicans take both houses of Congress, Joe Biden's administration is over. It's done. So they have to look ahead to the next administration. It's not going to be Biden. He's not going to run again, no matter what. If he signs an executive order, it'll be immediately challenged in federal court, and the Republican House and Senate are not going to pass anything he puts forth unless it's a terror attack or something like that. Okay? So he's finished. So the Democratic Party, with this black cloud hanging over it, they've got to get rid of Biden. And it's already happening. You already hear it from guys like David Axelrod, who was Obama's consigliere. So Biden, after the midterms, when it's over, I think in 23 you might hear, look, Joe Biden has to resign because of health reasons. Health reasons. Now, everybody goes, oh, I don't want Kamala Harris, it'll be worse. It doesn't matter. Vice President Harris would be a placeholder. No chance of getting a nomination in 24. That would be suicide for the Democratic Party. Ms. Harris has demonstrated she cannot do the job as vice president. How could she do it as president? She's inarticulate. She's out of touch. She doesn't know very much. Her frame of reference is very narrow. Just imagine O'Reilly, Kamala Harris, 45-minute interview. Just picture that and what that scenario would come out to be. Okay, so I say there's a 30% chance that Joe Biden will resign in 23 due to health reasons. He doesn't want to, but the Democratic Party is in such bad shape, the pressure might get too much. All right, latest Rasmussen poll just out, approved 41% of Biden's job performance, disapproved 58%. USA Today poll out last week, approved 39%, disapproved 58%. So you see where the overall numbers are. And that is the subject. That is the talking points memo, I should say. President Biden scheduled today, nothing. It's Monday. It's nothing. He came back from Delaware, 45th anniversary with Joe Biden. Fell off his bike, went to Mass on Sunday, came out of Mass, did a little two-step to show he's okay. And now he came back to the White House today and he has nothing on his schedule. But that's not unusual. If you watch the No Spin News, you know we do this every day and he never has anything on his schedule. Unless somebody flies in to see him. Now, there are two blocs that voted Democrat against Trump in 2020, and that really tilted the election. One is Asian Americans, fastest growing political bloc in the USA. According to Pew Research, Biden now has a 53% approval rating in the Asian community, 47% disapprove. However, Biden's approval margin in the election, was 37 points lower than it is now. So among Asian Americans, Biden's lost 37% favorability. Now, that's a smaller voting bloc, but here's the big one. Hispanics, big voting bloc, along with African Americans. So you combine African Americans and Hispanic, you're up around 30%. Quinnipiac poll, early June. Do you approve or disapprove the way Biden has handled his job? This is Hispanics. Approved 24, disapproved 58. That is a disastrous number. Disastrous. And so, if Asians and Hispanics bolt the Democratic Party, the Democrats are left with African Americans, white liberals, and that's it. And unions. That's it. They can't survive. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. Joining us now from Carlsbad, California, just north of San Diego, is our pal, Ruben Navarette. He's a journalist and founder of Navarette's Sonic Podcast Network, NSPN. And Ruben reminded me before the program that we have been chatting with each other for 20 years, which is why Ruben is so much smarter now than he was 20 years ago.
That's right.
I'm taking full credit, Ruben. All right. So you see these terrible numbers in a Hispanic community and you attribute them to what?
Bill, great to be back with you. I attribute them to three small things and one big thing. The three small things is it's a bad economy, bad decisions by Joe Biden, high gas prices. They're all affecting Latinos. We're an entrepreneurial business class. The issues, number two, the issues have been bad for Biden. He seems to pick the issues that don't resonate with Latinos. He puts his weight behind climate change, and suddenly the Democratic Party is talking about transgender athletes. And defunding the police and issues that aren't resonating with Latinos. And lastly, in the minor category, I'll say there's a tendency among Democrats to treat African Americans and Latinos, you mentioned it earlier, as if they were the same. And they're not the same. They have different perspectives on things like progressive prosecutors or defunding the police, certainly on CRT, right? Critical race theory. So it's been a bad fit for Democrats to try to say, well, you're all non-white, you must have that in common, we'll treat you all the same. It's as if, Bill, 100 years ago, the Democratic Party had said, we're going to take the Italian Americans and the Irish Americans in Boston and treat them the same, and we'll just call them Northeast ethnics, right? Because it's convenient, it's not going to work. But here's the big reason. I said there was a big reason. Bill, here's how politics works, as you well know. Nobody gets any votes unless their opponent gives them an opening. The Democratic Party has given the Republican Party a huge opening with Hispanics because they do not understand my community. They've taken my community for granted. They've neglected us, ignored us. It's amazing the amount of loyalty Latinos have shown to the Democratic Party in the last 15 presidential elections, going back to 1960. Democrats have always gotten the majority of the Latino vote. And in return, they've delivered very little to Latinos. So those are the big reasons why you're seeing what you're seeing.
But the way the Democratic Party is structured now with the progressives in charge, very, very, very hard to persuade Latinos that the Democrats are on their side for one really big reason. A lot of Latin voters in America are religious based. They're all Catholic, okay? Now, not all of them practice, but the tenet of traditional Christianity / traditional family, and you come from one, a traditional family, that is totally opposite what the progressives are putting forth. And you mentioned CRT, you mentioned the social agenda where traditions are just banished everywhere. So even if the economy were decent, Latinos have got a cultural problem with the Democratic Party, correct?
Yes, they do. And here, I'll put a finer point on it, Bill. It has to do with authority figures. Latinos, for better or for worse, we fall in line behind authority figures. We have strong families around a strong father figure, typically, right? And we have oftentimes very strict fathers who take that responsibility very seriously. So we fall in line behind the Catholic Church, which is about authority figures, behind police officers and police who are about authority figures. We're never going to be in favor of defunding the police. You know, as you know, I believe it was your grandfather was a police officer. My father was a cop. You come from a culture, and the Irish Americans are like this, along with the Mexican Americans, where you're raised around law enforcement. You know, we're raised to respect authority. So I think there is a cultural bent there that works against the Democrats and their current configuration. You're right.
Now, one issue that has alienated independent voters of all stripes is the border, the open border. But the Democratic Party puts forth that the Hispanic American community generally want the open border. They don't want stringent border enforcement. They like sanctuary cities. Is that true in your opinion?
Yeah, so that's not true. I'm going to disagree with you that there is an open border. I don't believe there is. I've never believed it. I've covered immigration for over 30 years. We can't spend $60 billion a year at the Department of Homeland Security with about $15 billion of it going to border enforcement and then say we have an open border. People will always find a way to come here. I don't believe that Joe Biden is sort of responsible for the quote open border, but you're absolutely right about the bigger point, which is Latinos favor security. They live along the border. Many of them are Border Patrol agents. Half the Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. And also, you bring up a really important point here, Bill. We talk about the Latino vote. See, there are 62 million Latinos in the country, but the real game is among the 60% of those folks, 2/3 almost, who are Mexican or Mexican American. And this is really important for your viewers to understand, Bill. We're not talking in this segment about the Latino vote as relates to Cuban Americans and Colombians who always vote Republican, or the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans in the Northeast who always vote Democrat. No, the game is over the Mexicans and Mexican Americans who are totally in play. They're the swing voters. They're the ones who are up for grabs. That's the Latino vote.
Okay, and all Latino voters, as with working whites and blacks, are getting hurt by this terrible inflation. But I'm going to challenge you on the open border.
Okay.
So Donald Trump took him 3 years, but he finally got the Remain in Mexico policy, which meant that anyone entering the United States claiming asylum, asking for asylum, had to wait in Mexico. That stopped the caravans. It stopped the mass migration. It stopped a lot of the smuggling because the Border Patrol was not overwhelmed,
Yeah.
all right, by these unbelievably large migrant caravans, and they all got here and wanted asylum. So Trump stopped it for 12 months, and you saw the numbers go like this, go down, of the Border Patrol encounters. First day in office, Biden knocks that out for no reason. And then later, a federal judge orders Biden to reinstate it. Biden had to reinstate it, but didn't cooperate with it. Still not. So
Right.
therefore, on the border, you have record numbers of migrants crossing,
Right.
being encountered by the Border Patrol, which is now overwhelmed by the numbers because there are millions of people. Narcotics is coming in here at record because they don't have enough personnel to stop the narcotics. The cartels, as you know, control both the people and the drug smuggling. This is salad days for the Mexican drug cartels. Yeah. They love Biden. They've never made more money. So I'm telling you, when I use the word open border, it's not that the Border Patrol is saying, oh, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Biden's policy has overwhelmed our ability to stop the migrants. You wouldn't disagree with that.
So here's what I would say. It goes back to a conversation you and I have had for many years. There's a disagreement between sealing the border, which will never happen, and securing the border, which can happen. But even when we secure the border, even under Trump, let's say, you still have people coming across. You always have them coming across.
Not nearly as many.
There are tunnels. Well, you remember the big rush in 2018 under Trump? There was a big rush where people came in. 2014 under Obama, then 2018 over under Trump. People will find a way to get through. The problem I'm having, Bill, is Joe Biden and the Democratic Party lie their pants off when it comes to immigration. Let's just be blunt, okay? They BS everybody. They want to have it both ways. They want to pretend to be sort of open border. We're very welcoming, vote for us Latinos. But behind the scenes, they're doing things like photocopying some of the Trump policies. On Remain in Mexico, I'll go right to that. Yeah, Joe Biden, when he was forced by a judge, he re-implemented the Remain in Mexico policy. But he didn't let anybody know that he included the Haitians in there. He went further than the judge wanted him to go. So Joe Biden is really much more of an immigration restrictionist than he pretends to be. But the reason people get fooled by that bill is because he wants to have it both ways. Obama was the same way. He deported 3 million people, Obama. But he convinced the left, oh, I'm very open border, I'm very supportive of Latinos. And no. They're lying their pants off, Bill. And when Democrats tell you something about immigration, it's not true. It's a lie. And so when they say we're for an open border, don't believe them. It's a lie.
All right, Ruben, always provocative, and we appreciate the 20 years of loyalty to us.
You bet, pal.
You stay well, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Thank you.
You too, my friend. Take care.
Supply chain issues have been a catalyst in bringing high-tech manufacturing back to the USA. My tech expert and founder of Brownstone Research calls it the Great Recalibration, and he discusses it in his newsletter, Near Future Report. For the past 35 years, he has helped his subscribers safely navigate volatile times, and he also answers your most pressing questions, like how to protect your money from inflation. What are the implications of a new digital currency and the Great Reset? What will the Fed do with interest rates? And what is expected from the stock market in 2022? Brownstone Research has been at the forefront of nearly every major market move for the past 35 years. Let Jeff Brown help you by signing up for his newsletter today at a 75% discount. It's a 12-month subscription for only $49. Please go to jeffbrowntech.com. 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 Okay, here is the final thought. Now, I'm a regular guy. I know some people don't believe that, but I am. I just do what you do. So there's a 7-Eleven in my town, and I get the newspapers in there. They have pretty good coffee in there, too. And they don't kill you. It's not like Starbucks or one of these dopey designer things. And, it's all right. I'm not a big coffee drinker once in a while. And I pick up some stuff at 7-Eleven. So I'm on a checkout line. It's all migrants behind a counter, okay? And I go and I mistakenly paid more than I should have for what I had, for my items. I didn't know it because the two of the bills were stuck together. And so the young adult, like maybe he's 25, Hispanic guy. He goes, "You gave me too much money." And I looked at it and he said, I said, "Well, thank you." And he looked at me and he just nodded. And then I said to everybody in 7-Eleven, and this is, I'm kind of obnoxious, you know that. I said, "Attention." And everybody turned around. Many of them knew who I was. I said, "This is an honest man. You are looking at an honest man right back here." And the kid, I don't know his English was that well, that good, or, if he knew, but he knew I was saying something good about him. I said, and then I said to the employees, I said, "This guy could have taken that extra money and put it in his pocket. He did not." And so everybody's in a place they didn't know what to say. Now, why did I do that? And I told this to the urchins when they took me out to Father's Day dinner last night, but they didn't really take me out because I paid. But anyway, they wanted to go out, I think because I knew I would pay. I told them this story. And I said, why do you think I did that? And they looked and one of them said, "Well, because most of the time people are complaining about the help in 7-Eleven and other service stores." I said, "That's exactly right. So all these people here all day is bad things, negative things. And I'm guilty of that sometimes. If I get bad service or there's something going wrong, hey, let's go." When it good happens, no matter where it is, make a big deal out of it. Make a positive deal out of it. That's only fair. If you're going to complain, and again, I do, then when somebody does something good, you're compelled to compliment the person, right? So I was happy. The kid behind the counter was really happy. I gave him a little tip. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Inflation now at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates skyrocketing. A recession may loom. Our retirement accounts are in real danger. If you want to protect your future, do what I did. Call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They are the highest rated firm in the country, A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and thousands of satisfied clients. Plus, tell them O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. So don't wait, please call now, 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.